Welcome to another edition of Africa Sideways, and we're coming to you from the brand new Ford Territory 1.8 litre turbo, ladies and gentlemen. Now this is the successor to the Ford Kuga in South Africa, which had its issues, let's just put it that way, and they brought out the Territory. They've kind of revitalized the Territory brand in South Africa. They did come out with a V8, more like a station wagon years ago, but now they're bringing out a proper SUV version to replace the Kuga, and they've done really well. This is a partnership with JMC, a Chinese brand. Presuming they're trying to get their production costs down, and also a great entry into the Chinese market with the H6 doing particularly well, and a few other cars, BYD and whatnot. Ford obviously wanted a strong partnership in China, and they've got it. And to be honest, I didn't know that this was a Chinese partnership until I started doing my research, and it really doesn't drive like a Chinese car. Probably that's the Ford influence on it, because most Chinese cars I drive are full of beeps. It's got way too much warnings and things that actually distract you from driving the car. This feels really tastefully done. I'd say best in class infotainment screen here. It doesn't protrude your eye line. I find a lot of the LCD screens stick up, and it really takes your eye away from the important job of driving. But in this vehicle, everything's just right, perfectly laid out. It's relatively easy to change your aircon, and you've got your Apple CarPlay. There's no GPS here, standard, so you've got to use your phone. In terms of power, you've got 130 odd kilowatts from this 1.8 turbocharged engine, and it's really got a lot of power when you stick the foot in. There we go. On the highway, this thing cruises lekker. And yeah, I'm impressed with this partnership. You know, at the end of the day, a lot of the stuff gets made in China anyway, so having partnerships with Chinese companies is nothing really new out of the ordinary. It's got the wireless charger here. I found with the phone, sometimes the wireless charger heats up the phone too much. I think that's maybe if you've got a cover on, it doesn't ventilate so well. Plenty of storage space, massive center bin to store stuff, lots of storage space, very well thought out for family travel. Now, I was writing about this a few weeks ago. I drove the Puma, which is a smaller compact SUV from Ford. Now this is their bigger mid-size SUV, so people with a larger family, this is going to work well for you. Loads of leg room. One thing I've noticed with the Chinese cars is they always put emphasis on the leg room of the passengers. Perhaps this is going to be used as in a sort of limousine capacity for mid-tier officials. One thing, this size car, when they do have a lot of leg room in the back, normally the boot space is compromised, and this only has 450 odd liters of boot space, which is small for a big SUV. By example, my 2011 Extra has 600 liters of space. So the extra leg room, you are getting penalized a bit in boot space, but you still got a decent amount of boot space there. You can fit a set of golf clubs there and some luggage, so you're not completely up the Khyber. It tells you it's got the lane changing assist. It's got a lot of the good tech on here. Autonomous adaptive cruise control, so it'll follow the person in front of you, which comes in really handy on long distance travel. It's got this massive sunroof. Gets a lot of nice lights onto the Yeah, big. I like a big sun visor. This has got it. Controls for the sunroof are really easy. Feel how smooth this is on the highway. That's what I noticed. I took it to Breda River. This has got 19-inch rims on, so the 50 k's of gravel, I was tiptoeing, no punctures, but I think with a higher profile tyre on here, this thing would be really good on gravel. Felt comfortable, front wheel drive. One thing I would say in a South African setup, to have a 19-inch rim on an SUV tyre makes no sense. I think a 17 or a 16-inch rim, firstly it looks better, and it's better with potholes and a bit of gravel. What's the point of having a car that's got clearance but you've got low profile tyres on? I've never understood that. We need to change the cars to make them suitable for South African conditions. I think all the manufacturers make this mistake. Cars are set up for highway driving, let's just put it that way, and not everybody's always going to be on the highway. But I'm sure Ford normally has an option for a smaller rim and a higher profile tyre, so if that's available, always take it. Of fuel economy, I've done 707 k's and I'm averaging 9.4 litres. Sort of pretty good for the size car. That's a combination of city and open road driving. I think if I drove really sedately, I could get it down to 9.5. So all in all, this is price-wise, this is 700,000 Rand, just over 700,000 Rand, which I think that's where the Chinese connection comes in. It's going to be a little bit cheaper than some of the competition, and your competition is strong in this segment. In the Chinese, you got the H6, and then you've got the usual contenders, the RAV4, the Nissan X-Trail. There really is a lot to play for in this segment. The thing about Ford is they've got a better dealer network than the Chinese at the moment, so you're going to get better backup for these vehicles than you would if you buy a straight Chinese. Feels more refined, the throttle control. It still feels like a Ford, but it's made in China, which is not really a surprise. As I said earlier, a lot of the stuff is made in China anyway, so it's all good in the hood from that perspective. So yeah, after taking on a good road trip, excellent on the highway, perfect power to weight ratio, great family vehicle. You get a 4-year service plan on this. I would buy it new, because the one little thing that people say about Ford sometimes is their reliability. But in terms of how the cars drive and make you feel and get you out there, it's really one of my favorite brands, to be honest. Sideways rating, this gets a solid 8.5 out of 10. They've dusted off those nightmares of the Kuga. They've brought a strong offering here. It's a completely different vehicle. It feels tastefully done. The LCD screen is just the right size. It doesn't overpower the car. Steering's light and sporty. So is the engine. Loads of legroom. Very, very comfortable car. And I think if the reliability proves good on this, they're going to sell a lot of these, because it does tick a lot of boxes, the new Ford territory. So we'll catch you next time on Africa Sideways. Peace.